So if you would love to extend your tomato season forever, well, maybe you can't do it forever, but you can do it for a while. Let me show you how to do that with some fall tomatoes. Fall tomatoes are just as good as spring tomatoes. They're in some ways easier to grow, in some ways harder to grow. But let me show you what I'm doing. I got some baby tomatoes sitting here, and we're going to put them in the ground or in containers, as it were, and show you the benefits of fall tomatoes and how to do it right and how to do it without killing them. So we're over here at the earth boxes, and I'm going to take my little stabilization wire off of here for right now. I'm going to cut these old tomatoes out. I've checked the pH on them. Really nice little pH tester. It does not just pH, but it does light, water, your moisture level. And this is really a valuable tool to have. I highly recommend this, and I'll put a link to it below. Just a 4-in-1 soil tester that tells you a lot of good information. These are obviously spring tomatoes. These were Shelby's, which is a kind of a Roma tomato. I'm gonna cut them off first just so I can get the vegetation out of there. And then I'm gonna pull the root system out, cut the root system out. I'll put these in the compost pile that I have over here over my right shoulder. 2, 3 big piles of wood chips that I'm making into compost and adding garden vegetation and such. Now, what I did last year, I did the same thing, except last year I planted in September. September, that just did not give me enough time. When the frost started rolling in late October, probably more like middle of November, I had gotten a few tomatoes, but most of them were small and most of them were still green. And I tried to protect them through the first frost, and did, but just didn't give them enough time. So it is July 20th, and I am going to give them plenty of time. So went and got my hoary. I've got these mulched heavy. Obviously potting mix in the tub itself. That's the way these wicking type containers work, which is what the earth box is. This is no different. You can do this in the ground. You can do this with wicking tubs. You can do this with just a static container that you may have. You can do this with, like I say, in the ground, anywhere. Raised beds. But, you know, summertime is tough on plants, so you might have to consider, don't want to lose my valuable dirt, that stuff's expensive now. You might want to consider some shade cloth like I have on these, and I'll show you that in a little while, but I'm going to do a complete video on that maybe next week. Last year I planted right in the middle because I didn't want to take these out. I didn't want to take the 2 tomatoes out, and I only had a few tomatoes anyway. In fact, I think I bought them last year at Walmart or somewhere. And by the way, I bought one at Walmart the other day, a few weeks ago, and it looks pretty sad. So I'm replacing it with the ones I grew because I do a better job apparently than whoever plants for Walmart. Just get these plants out. Now, some of you are going to say you're planting a tomato on top of a tomato. Haven't I ever heard of succession planting? And yeah, I have, and on occasion I practice that. In other words, probably next spring, these particular earth boxes, these tubs, earth boxes, will be, I don't know whether you can hear that saw in action, cutting through those roots. That is a hoary. Sharp, reasonably sharp on one side, with a serrated edge on the other side. Planting depth here, that's 6 inches, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 inch. So just a really good garden tool. It's a Japanese invention, I think, from many years ago. And I just love my little hoary-hories. I got 2 of them. I'll put a link to that below also, but I'll get these out of here without getting too much of my soil. Now, what I started saying was about succession planting. The guy that invented earth boxes, now he's passed away now, Hunt was his name. I can't remember his first name. And he had a farm. The reason he reason he invented earth boxes because he had a tomato farm. He was a tomato grower in Florida. Florida gets hurricanes. Hurricanes wiped him out over and over and over again, drowned his tomatoes, killed his whole crop. So he said there's got to be a better way. He invented the earth box, which is a self-wicking container. It's got a water reservoir underneath. But my point is, on the succession planting is, I forget how many earth boxes he said he had, but there's hundreds. He had hundreds of earth boxes on his farm, and the people that run his farm now, and they planted tomatoes every year. They were a tomato farm. Now they may have something else that they planted in them too, but mostly tomatoes. So I just don't think there's an issue. Again, next year I'll probably plant peppers all down this row. My tomato row will be my pepper row. My pepper row will become my squash row, and my squash row will become my tomato row, or something like that. I'll figure it out. I don't know what the root system looks like on these. I planted these about 4 weeks ago, maybe. Oh, that's not bad at all. I don't know whether you can see that or not, but roots all the way down. It's not enough root system to hold the bottom of the soil together. It's not quite down there matted and root bound, but they really look good. And this is my smallest one, I think. Yeah, that's the smallest one by far. And I'll put that in there. Now in an earth box, you can't go tremendously deep because there's a baffle about 8 inches down. There's a baffle that won't allow the soil to get down in the water reservoir. And so this is basically going to sit on that baffle and just pack that soil that I just moved in, or moved out, move it back in. I want it tight. I want the roots to be tight against the soil. I do the same with this one. Now most of them look like this one here. That's about 16 inches tall, 14, 16 inches tall. That's a nice looking tomato plant and has got a little bit better root system in it than the first one did. But it'll go in the hole. My rods, let me scoop some of that out. I want it to go as deep as I can, but again, you can't go tremendously deep. If it was in the dirt, I probably would go a lot deeper, but that's something I do need to do is I don't want to bury that blue tape. I don't want to bury that because I want to be able to cut that off. I'll just cut it off now. I don't want to bury it because then I forget about it, and then the stalk gets that big around, and that it's straining at that blue tape from my tape tying machine, which I just absolutely love the tape tying machines, and many of y'all have purchased one and love it also. Tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to take off these bottom little scaffold limbs there on this one and on this one. And this one ain't got much. It's so small that I'm going to leave that blue tape on it because I can see it. It's above the ground. The other one's going to be below ground, so I can see it. Pack that down good. Bring in some mulch on top. Mulch on top. And what I didn't do, I normally do it first, but I can do it now, is come in here and fertilize. Now I've only got, this year has been totally organic. All my fertilizer's been organic. This is the Haas brand Organic 543. Everything has done extremely well using this and nothing but this. Now I use 2 pounds of this in each earth box. I don't have that much anymore, so I'm going to go probably a pound or a cup, let's say. I'm going to go, that's 2 cups. I'm planting 4 of them. I just don't know. I'm going to go a cup and a half because I want it to be able to go in all of them, all 4 of them, and then I'll order some more. But I will remove this strip on an earth box. You plant, it depends on where you place your plants, but you plant your strip in different in strategic places. They tell you where to plant. And I know most of you saying I'm not going to ever get an earth box because it's so expensive, and they have gotten expensive. I'll definitely agree with that. But when you divide it by the 20-25 year lifespan of this box, as opposed to a wicking tub, which is like 4 years, and I know that from experience because I have had to replace all my wicking tubs, then it's really not that. It's really not that. It's not that expensive when you divide it by 20 years. Now, am I going to be here 20 years from now? Yeah, I don't know. I'm 74. Probably not. But anyway, cover that fertilizer up, cover it all up, pack it down, and like I say, I want to make sure these are in contact, good contact with the ground. And I will water these as soon as you leave. As soon as you leave. But we've had a lot of wind lately. It is most of the time these have been in under the grow light in my barn, and summer's a perfect time to start seeds in the barn because you don't have to. You don't need a heat mat. I mean, they just go crazy. Again, I don't know exactly when I planted these. I want to say June 1st, so it may be 6 weeks, a month and a half or something like that. But they've done extremely well. Very healthy, hadn't done anything to them. I've given them a little bit of 20-20-20. I've got a sack of that over there in a minute, and I'll show you another little trick I'm going to do in just a second with that 20-20-20. But man, they look good. Again, they look the same size. This one was not very deep. That one's pretty doggone deep. It's 14, 16 inches long. I've got some over here I'm fixing to show you. We'll do one more pot, and I'll show you that. And they're 20 inches tall, probably. They're pretty good size. So let's move over to the next pot. So while I'm setting up, I'll test the pH. Turn it on. It comes on temperature. That's the other thing. Tell soil temp, which is very important in springtime. pH, water, and light. So pH down in there. That little old plant there cost me $5. It ain't changed in a month. And I got it at Walmart, and it said heat tolerant, or what did it say? Here it is. Heat Master. Heat tolerant hybrid tomato. Determinate tomato. Well, we've had some hot days and windy days, and it ain't tolerated a whole lot, so it's gonna come out. Man, bad as I hate to throw away $5. Don't get me wrong. I don't like doing that. I think I dug those up when I planted this. I must have dug those up. Yeah, got a little bit of a root ball in there, but I pretty much dug those out of the way, got the roots out and such. So anyway, we're ready to plant these. But I'm just going, it's done nothing as far as I can tell. Maybe the roots have spread a little bit, but it ain't done much. That's about like it was when I put it in the ground, root-wise. So there's $5 wasted. Now I might do it. I could go put that in a pot and put it on the back deck and see. It's got 2 or 3 little old blooms on it. I may do that just to see if it is indeed what it claims to be, and that is heat tolerant. All right, let's get down in here and cup and a half. Give me a cup and a half of this good stuff. All right, let me plant. I got 2 more to plant, 8 more plants, 2 more earth boxes. And let me do that and I'll come right back. So I got them all planted. I'm gonna, again, water them in real well because I want the roots to be sealed. And this water should do that. And I also put about a two tablespoons of water-soluble 20-20-20 right in the middle. And we're going to dissolve that. It'll go out in the potty mix, but it'll also go down in the water reservoir and keep it in there, and these plants will feed from that. 20-20-20 is not a long-lasting fertilizer, the water-soluble, but it is a good kick in the pants. And these kind of need that. They look good. There's nothing wrong with them. But also, and I forgot to do it on the other one, I want to water that fertilizer strip too. Start dissolving that organic fertilizer, because that's going to be long term, is the fertilizer. Now, why did I go organic this year? Because I've always used synthetic 10-20-10, something like that. When you're in containers, there's the possibility of and danger of salt buildup, because your synthetic fertilizers typically have salt in them. And over the years or over the seasons, it can certainly be an issue. So don't want that to happen. Fertilizer strip and fertilizer dab are watered. Also, I'm going to show you these in the next week, but shade cloth. In summertime in the South, you can extend your season and extend what you're growing by using shade cloth. I'm having just a little bit of issue with this set of shade cloth. I just bought it, good stuff, but my rods, my support mechanism, those 3/8 rebar right there, this wind we've been having, which was a lot, have bent a little bit. So I'm going to have to replace those with T-posts. Now, my hope is that I can wait till the end of the season, and wait till winter to do these replace these rebar with T-posts, because I've already got the shade cloth up there. Shade cloth, in a windy situation, shade cloth is not fun. But anyway, I got these watered. That's probably all I'll water them today, because they're already starting to leak out the bottom. That means they're full. That's the overflow. You can't overfill them. That's why the guy made them. In Florida, you're not going to drown them out. So, and I did way overfill on that one. It's running that away. Anyway, got them planted. It's not too late. Even if you're in the South, it's not too late even to start from seed, I don't think. Especially if you can find some at the store. Get some of them $5 ones at Walmart. But get you some tomatoes, because the ones that you plant in the spring and they do well, and we gathered a lot of tomatoes, but they're not the same. They don't taste the same when the plants start dying out, start getting old. They're still producing tomatoes, but they're not quality tomatoes. They'll eat, but that's about it. And I was trying to decide, do I want to pull them all up and replace them with tomatoes that I know I'm not going to get any tomatoes off of for weeks. So, but I did, and anyway, got them watered in, but the rest of them look good. They're having issues again with these posts leaning, and it's because we have had such hard western winds, and these are just a sail. All they do is grab the wind. So I've raised it up, hoping to alleviate some of that bending. I'm going to come in here and tie these down. I'll show you that next week when I show you the shade cloth in a separate video, dedicated video, and I'll show you how I'm going to, for the remainder of this year, going to bring them back this way and hopefully hold them straight up, or at least keep them from falling over. All right, I think that's it. We got them planted. Hope you plant you some too. We're gone.